Hey everybody, how you doing, guys and gals? So, quick name change. I'm calling this podcast Geekin Time Podcast, which is entertainment all around, which I talk about anything from geek and pop culture and many things relating to us geeks. So, I want to talk about the '80s era of movies and why it is important. '80s era was unique because it was all about having fun, and it covered all genres, not just horror and action and martial arts, which I usually cover when I do movie reviews, but it covered comedy, science fiction, fantasy, drama, every genre you could possibly imagine. And every week, you probably have maybe like 5 or 6 movies that you'll want to see every week, every Friday. And that's how much the '80s era movies was important because you were always going to the movie theaters constantly. It's not like you're gonna be disappointed. You ain't gonna have no judgment like you do now with movies. Like now you be like, this movie looked like shit after seeing the trailer. This movie I'm not feeling any vibe with the movie. I don't know if it's gonna be good or bad. Like you doubt yourself when you go to the movie theater now to see these movies. Back then there was no doubt. When you see the trailer, you are pumped to see it. When you see the poster, you be like, oh shit, this looks interesting. I gotta check it out. You know? Excuse me. Like that's what the '80s era was so important. Like going to the movie theaters like every week. And I'm sure the '90s was the same thing, and the '70s and before that. But once we hit the like mid 2000s, everything started changing, I would say. But before that, of all the decades, the '80s was the shit. Like you will not be disappointed. Like I said, there was always something for everybody. You could be an all-around movie lover in any style. There's always something. I even go into the video stores, the same thing. In the '80s era, it was like always the cover art. It was always like when you look at the back of the box, which I might do a separate video blog on, because I don't want to compare home market to commercial market. I want to keep that separate. But with that being said, man, the '80s was the shit. The '80s was the best ever of movies, in my opinion. You might have maybe a very few duds that might not interest you, but in most cases, it's always like, to me, in my opinion, 100% in my opinion. But hey, trust me, you will not be disappointed. Rent any '80s movie from that era, I guarantee you'll not be disappointed. For a scale of 1 through 10, I guarantee you there might be 10 movies you might like, whatever you pick from the '80s, whatever genre style. Or you can go on, hey, my favorite place, Tubi TV. You can see a slew of '80s movies. Anyway, over and out.